Shriek of the Mutilated. Is it worth the purchase? Stay tuned and find out. Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Back with another Vinegar Syndrome review for you guys. Shriek of the Mutilated. I should have known by the name on here, Ed Adlam, that, I should have known what I was going to be in for. That name sounded really familiar, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I remembered.
They plant the living and harvest the dead. Invasion of the Blood Farmers, released by NMD Films, in color, rated PG, parental guidance suggested.
Yeah, same guy who did Invasion of the Blood Farmers, which is a true masterpiece. Oh man, he wasn't the director on this. This was directed by Michael Findlay. But yeah, this is from 1974, by the way. Oh. Now, if you're a big Yeti fan, a big Bigfoot fan, you'll definitely want to grab this just because it's one of those types of films. Otherwise, maybe stream this one first. I'm going to start with some non-spoiler stuff first, and then we'll get into spoilers for those who don't wish to have it, well, spoiled. So you have a group of college kids who, well, aren't really kids. We know the story of that. They're all obviously in their 30s or older, especially Mr. Come Over here, who tells a story of when he went to this island and went on his search for this Yeti and everything, and everyone's standing around listening to his story after their little party, or at their little party that's really happening. And then things happen to him as well. He takes a nice bath, and there's paint everywhere. So, yeah. After that, the college professor, whatever, takes 4 students to this island once again. I guess this is like 7 years later, which the guy telling the story, if this was 7 years later, he's like, he looks like he's 50, more like 17 years ago. He was a young, strapping lad like the rest of them. Anyways, moving on from that, they all get to this island, and I will say too, the music to this sounded really familiar. But now this came out in 1974. There was another film a few years after this that's pretty popular, that has the same music as its like main theme. Let's see if you guys can figure out what film I'm talking about by this music. So, was this an influence on said popular film there for its score? Interesting. Anyways, I just, as soon as I heard that music, I was like, I know this music. Like, it's unmistakable. So they all are on this island, and there's a lot of bad acting, of course, in between. I guess kills. It doesn't really show a whole lot. There's not a lot of mutilation in Shriek of the Mutilated. There's not a lot of people being mutilated. You do have this guy here who is Laughing Crow. I think his name was Laughing Crow. He never laughs. I don't get it. Why is his name Laughing Crow if he doesn't laugh? Anyways, they're, stalked and killed by this Yeti until it gets down to a couple of them. So, there's like 2 whole kills. And I'm thinking the whole time, this Yeti just looks really bad. This looks like a guy in a suit. Now, there's a reason for that. I'm not going to say what, though, because I don't want to spoil anything for you non-spoiler people. But I'm just like, these are bad special effects. What's going on? This movie sucks. And, the acting's bad, special effects are bad, there's not any mutilation. The kills are pretty much like off screen, or it's just like the Yeti clawing at them, and then they're just, end up in like the fucking greenhouse. And, yeah. So they choose to use one of the victims as bait, blah, blah, and try to catch this Yeti. And that's when you really start to get your twist to the story. And I'm just going to kind of stop there for those who don't want this spoiled for them. Because once the twist hits, it's actually decent enough. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's why a lot of things happen. So if you guys don't want spoilers, definitely tune out now. I will say overall, for you guys who don't want those, I do recommend checking this out. I would recommend streaming it first before paying the purchase price from Vinegar Syndrome. But let's take a look at the package before you guys go. Here's your nice slip cover. It's got piece by piece by piece, the bodies vanish, and Shriek of the Mutilated. Here's your spinage. Yep, good stuff. The back again. Very nice slip, of course. Here is your alternate artwork. Cool. Your disc art. And the same slip art underneath. You do have plenty of features on here as well, which I'll go over here at the end. But, yeah, overall, I say definitely stream this one first. And thank you for stopping by. Now, let's move on to the spoilers of this movie. Okay, so the twist is, why does the suit look so shitty? Because it really is a suit. And they're fucking cannibals. So, once that twist hit, I was a little more intrigued in the film. And was ready to see what happened next. The end is kind of like, they could have done more with the end, I feel. And, of course, the bad guys win. After it's all said and done. One thing that just I didn't understand, and watching the features, I get it now. It says like it's this massive, like 10-foot tall beast, or however big, and it didn't look that big on screen. There's a reason for that, though. The suit was made to fit a short person. And so, yeah. And of course, in the movie, they had two suits or something, and, they alternated between people who wore it and everything. But yeah, I think the end could have been a little bit more developed, a little bit more story to the end, and it would have really helped this film altogether. But yeah, once that twist hit, I actually kind of enjoyed it. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to make this review really short because there's not a lot to it. People are out there. People get killed. They want to keep the one guy to survive and bring this story back like we had at the beginning of this film with the guy, Mr. Como over there, telling his story. He was supposed to be the guy to go back and keep this tale alive that this Yeti is out there, and things don't really work out in his favor. You have the scene where he's getting attacked with the forks, which was really lame. They weren't even really getting into breaking the skin or anything. There was some ketchup packet of blood there, but yeah, of course they had old girl on the table and everything too, ready to consume her. But I would have really liked some backstory to more of the people that were there. I know they do mention a couple of them briefly, but to see what their whole story was would have been kind of cool. And to kind of get a backstory on the main guys doing this as well. Like, why are they doing this? Are at least people paying for this? Is it just something that they do to bond? Yeah, I did end up enjoying it. a little bit after it was all said and done. I'm not going to give it like a 5 stars. I would give this like a 2 out of 5. I don't think I've done this one yet on Letterboxd, but if I do, it'll get a 2 out of 5. Without the twist, it would have gotten a 1. It was just, and people know it's not good, and the people that worked on the film know it's not good. And these people were making these movies not for their love of film, which is always kind of a kick in the teeth when they're just making it to turn a profit and nothing else, because horror films were cheap to make, the cheapest thing next to adult films, which a lot of these people had background in as well. As far as features on here, though, you get, let's see, you get newly scanned and restored in 4K from the 35mm camera negative. It looked pretty good. Audio and video was pretty decent on here. Brand new commentary track with cinematographer, moderated by film historian Casey Scott. You get Yeti again, which runs 13 minutes, a brand new interview with Roberta Finley. And that, she talks about working on Snuff with the director as her first film. She did the cinematography for, and this was the last film that she ever worked on with the director as well. And she talks about the making of the Yeti suit. Once again, that's where you find out that it was made for a shorter person. She did the music for this film as well. And she worked in adult film and everything, and then moved to the horror genre like a lot of people did back in the 70s, early 80s. Horror film is about the closest thing you can get to making an adult film. It takes a little bit more of a budget with the special effects and everything, but basically you're just going to have your shitty acting and everything like that you would have in an adult film. Other than that, you get, actually that ran, I wrote down the times, that runs 12 minutes and 36 seconds. You get So Bad, So Great, which runs 22 minutes and 7 seconds. Interview with producer and co-writer Ed Adlam. Again, he talks about how he got started in film, and this guy loves to talk. He just talks and talks and talks. And of course, he made Invasion of the Blood Farmers, which I had already mentioned. He talks about the one guy in here. I already forget everyone's name because I just really didn't care. The older gentleman that was in the film, how he lived with his mother, and everyone else stayed at like this close by motel, but every night when they wrapped filming, or every day, whatever, they would have to drive him back to his mother's house. And this guy was like 60 at the time, so his mom had to be like 90 years old, which... Okay, whatever. Maybe he was helping take care of her or something. I don't know the whole story. But he does talk about other cast members and things like that. Like I say, he talks and talks and talks. But it was a pretty interesting interview. I remember listening to him. I believe there was an interview with him or something like that on Invasion of the Blood Farmers. So I did recognize this guy. Other than that, you get The Wilds of Westchester, which runs 14 minutes and 5 seconds, which is a locations feature, the then and now on that, which I always enjoy. And they even go into some of the locations that were around there were also used for Invasion of the Blood Farmers. So yeah, that was interesting. A lot of things kind of still looked the same for the most part. I think there was one section which had been completely developed, and the main road that they take to get to this house, which they only used for the exterior, and the interior was a duplex in the city or something. It was pretty much just covered over and no longer really usable. But there was a lot of things that really did look the same. I mean, this is like a outside the city area, which is kind of wooded and not really messed with a whole lot. So a lot of things did look the same. Other than that, you get, of course, the reversible sleeve, the English subtitles, all that good stuff, and you get an audio essay by cryptozoology author David Coleman, which runs about 30 minutes. I did listen to this for about half of it, then the other half I was kind of doing other things and listening to it. It's pretty informative. but a lot of things that we already heard in the interviews and that you're going to hear in the commentary and things like that. But overall, guys, again, I'm going to keep these reviews really short and not go into a whole lot of detail. I definitely recommend streaming this one first. Again, unless you're a huge Yeti, Bigfoot type fan, then you'll definitely want to add this to your collection. Now, I had heard of this movie. This was the only one that I had heard of in this month's releases, and I'd not seen it, so I'm glad that I've seen it. Is it one that I'm going to revisit? Probably not, but it's good to have in the library behind me for maybe future videos on like Bigfoot Yeti type stuff, or if I want to show it to someone and make them suffer. It wasn't really that bad. I've definitely seen worse than this. So, yeah, glad to have it in the collection. Love the slip on it. The features are pretty good, even though there's really only 2 interviews for features and then the locations. So it's kind of lacking in the features department. But is what it is. It's a 1974 Filmz, and they made this not thinking it was going to be around for the next 50 fucking years or close to it. I couldn't do the math in my head real quick, but close to that. All right. Yeah, I mean, when they made these movies back in the 70s, they never dreamt that this was still going to be a thing in 2022, and weren't really thinking about filming behind the scenes stuff or this or that for a special edition Blu-ray in the future, so and the elements, the film stocks and things like that weren't really well taken care of. During the interview with the cinematographer, she does talk about a car crash as well that she was in Old Boy's Pinto. And the camera, she said she saw it in like slow motion, like you see in the movies, that the camera like flies up, and somehow she manages to catch it, and nothing happens to the camera, nothing happened to her, and so that was pretty cool. I can just envision that, things in real life do happen in slow motion, at times. It's like, is this really happening? What's going on? And I gotta save it, and yeah. All right. Again, make these reviews under 20 minutes because I don't want to waste too much of y'all's time. Let me know what you guys think of Shriek of the Mutilated if you have seen this. And what do you think of Ed Adlin? Should he have kept making movies? He does mention in here that he told Steven Spielberg once that he was a filmmaker, and he asked him what movies that he worked on, and he said Invasion of the Blood Farmers, Shriek of the Mutilated, and Spielberg's reaction is, "Oh my," and walks away. And that's it. That's the whole story of him meeting Spielberg and telling him that he's a filmmaker. And he only did this, Invasion, and Blonde on a Bum Trip or something like that. So he only really worked on like 3 films. Yeah, it's probably a good thing though. But again, I've seen worse, guys. So definitely give it a watch, again, before purchase. Unless you're a subscriber like me, now you're just kind of stuck with it, or you can sell it or something. But I don't sell shit, so. Alright, I'm out of breath, so I'm gonna get out of here. As always, guys, peace, love, and happiness to all of you. And I will catch you later. Bye.